Disclaimer: this content is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. The bathroom mirror was still fogged up from the warm steam, and she could feel droplets rolling down her shoulders as she wrapped the soft towel around herself. The scent of lavender body wash still lingered in the air. It had been a long day, filled with back-to-back meetings, deadlines, and the usual chaos of married life. But now, in the calm of their shared apartment, everything felt still, almost too still. She stepped out of the bathroom quietly, expecting him to be in the living room like usual, glued to his favorite show. But he wasn't. Their story wasn't the picture-perfect kind. No grand proposals or fairy tale honeymoons. It was real, messy, full of late-night arguments and sleepy apologies. They had been married for just over 2 years, and somewhere between bills, work schedules, and forgotten anniversaries, the spark had begun to fade. But tonight, something felt different, charged, even. As she walked down the hallway, she caught a glimpse of him standing by the bedroom door, his expression unreadable. There was a pause in the air, like the kind before a summer storm, when everything goes quiet right before it crashes down. He hadn't said a word when she passed him, but she could feel his eyes on her, soft, longing, familiar. The way he used to look at her when they were newly married, when every touch meant something and every glance held unspoken promises. She felt her heart race a little, unsure whether it was from surprise or something deeper. Maybe he missed her. Maybe this moment was their quiet return to each other. Or maybe, he was holding back something he couldn't say. Their bedroom was dimly lit, the soft glow of the bedside lamp casting golden shadows on the walls. She sat at the edge of the bed, brushing her damp hair with fingers still slightly trembling. He walked in a moment later, slower than usual, almost as if he was testing the weight of the moment. Still, he said nothing. Just stood there, watching her. It was the kind of silence that doesn't need words, the kind that makes you remember why you fell in love in the first place. But right when she thought he was going to reach out and close the distance between them, he looked away, as if torn. A question lingered on his lips, unspoken. A hesitation in his eyes, like he knew something she didn't. Her breath caught in her throat, the moment suspended between what was and what could be. The warmth of the room suddenly felt too much, her skin still damp, her emotions even more so. What was he holding back? And why now, when they were finally close again? Let me know if you'd like to continue the next part of the story. I can also add twists or deepen their emotional connection based on your vision. She watched him closely now, trying to read the silent storm behind his eyes. Something was different about him tonight. Not just the way he was looking at her, but the way he was holding himself, tense, quiet, like he was wrestling with something heavy inside. The usual warmth in his gaze had shifted into something else. Was it doubt? Regret? Or something he just hadn't said out loud yet? They had shared so much over the years. From late-night drives when they couldn't sleep, to dancing barefoot in the kitchen with music too low to hear the lyrics. Their love had always felt grounded in real life. It wasn't all candles and chocolates, it was coffee in the mornings, stolen kisses between errands, and holding each other on the hard days. That kind of love doesn't disappear overnight. But it can get buried, if no one's paying attention. She cleared her throat softly. "You okay?" she asked, her voice low, uncertain. He nodded, but it wasn't convincing. "Yeah," he said, and then after a pause, added, "just thinking." That was the thing about him. He never showed his feelings easily. He could make everyone laugh at dinner parties, charm his way through any room, but with her, sometimes she wished he would just break open and let her in. Tonight, he looked like a man carrying a weight too big to speak of, but too painful to ignore. She pulled the towel tighter around her, more for comfort than modesty. The silence stretched between them again, thick with unsaid words. There was something about the way he stood near the doorway, not coming closer, not walking away, that made her feel like she was watching the start of something real, something important, but she didn't know which way it would go. Their bedroom felt like a world of its own now. The distant sound of traffic outside, the hum of the fridge in the kitchen, they all faded beneath the beat of her heart. She wanted to ask him again. To push, to know. But something in his silence told her the truth was not ready yet. He took a slow breath, his eyes finally meeting hers. And then he said, so softly it almost broke her, "There's something I need to tell you." But before she could respond, he looked away again, like even saying that much had been too much. Would you like to continue to the next section from here? Her heart skipped a beat when he said those words. There's something I need to tell you. The room didn't feel warm anymore. It felt colder, quieter, like the silence had its own voice now. She studied his face, waiting for more, but he didn't speak again. His jaw clenched slightly, his hands slipping into his pockets the way he always did when he was trying to hold something in. She had seen that look before, right before he told her about his job troubles last year, right before he admitted he felt like he was drifting. But this felt deeper. She stood slowly, not moving too close, just enough to feel like they were on the same side of the moment. You can tell me, she said, her voice barely louder than a whisper. He hesitated. I don't want to hurt you. That made her stomach tighten. Is it about us? He looked at her then, fully, clearly, and for a second she couldn't breathe. It's not just about us, he said. It's something I should have told you months ago. She felt her pulse race, panic creeping in around the edges of her thoughts. Her mind started spinning. Was it someone else? Was it something from the past? Had he been pretending all this time? But a part of her still clung to the way he looked at her earlier, with that mix of guilt and longing. It didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like fear. As the seconds ticked by, her thoughts drifted to the last few months. She remembered how distant he'd become, how he stayed longer at work, how he avoided deep conversations. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe she had become too busy, too tired, too distracted. She remembered the nights she tried to pull him closer, and he pulled away with a tired smile. Maybe the real story had been unfolding in front of her this whole time, and she just hadn't been ready to see it. But there was another layer, too. A subplot to their lives they both never talked about. His relationship with his sister, who had gone through a hard divorce recently. The way he kept checking his phone every night, replying to messages with that tight look on his face. She had once asked, everything okay with her, and he'd nodded, but she sensed more behind that answer. Maybe this wasn't just about them. Maybe it was about family, about obligations, or something he promised someone else that he didn't know how to bring home to her. The mystery wrapped itself around her heart, pulling tighter. She looked at him again, wanting him to break the silence, to let her in. But instead, he looked away, took a deep breath, and said, "Can we sit down first?" Her voice cracked a little. "Yeah, okay." They both sat, the edge of the bed feeling too small for the weight between them. She turned slightly to face him. "Whatever it is, I need to know." He opened his mouth, and then stopped, again. "Would you like the next part to finally reveal what he's been hiding, or build more suspense?" She could hear her own heartbeat now, thudding against the silence between them. He sat with his hands folded, elbows resting on his knees, staring at the floor like it held the answer to everything. Her towel felt colder against her skin now, like even the warmth of the room was slowly draining away. She didn't speak again, didn't push him this time, just waited. Because something in his silence told her this was the kind of truth that couldn't be rushed. "I should have told you a long time ago," he said finally, his voice low and tight. "I didn't mean to keep it from you. I thought I could handle it on my own." She leaned in slightly, her breath shallow. "Handle what?" He looked up, his eyes meeting hers with a storm inside them. "It started when I went to check on my sister after her divorce. She was in bad shape, really bad. She didn't tell anyone, but she was struggling, with more than just the breakup. That's when her mind started connecting the dots. The missed calls, the late nights, the tension in his face whenever her name came up. What happened? She asked, softer now. He rubbed his palms together, the friction loud in the quiet room. She got involved in something complicated, something dangerous. And I promised her I'd keep it quiet until she was ready to talk about it. But it's affecting everything now, our marriage, my peace of mind, everything. She sat back slightly, heart still racing. He wasn't just hiding a secret, he'd been carrying someone else's pain too. But why was it all boiling over tonight? What had changed? He hesitated again, then added, I found out something last week that changes everything. I didn't know how to tell you, because once I do, things between us won't be the same. The air in the room felt heavier now, almost too thick to breathe. She blinked, trying to hold herself together. You're scaring me, she said. He swallowed hard. I didn't mean to. I need you to be ready. Because this isn't just about helping my sister anymore. It's about us. About what we thought we knew. Her throat tightened. Tell me. He opened his mouth again. But just then, his phone buzzed on the nightstand, its screen lighting up with a name she hadn't seen in a long time. Her eyes locked onto it. And everything shifted. The screen of his phone lit up again, buzzing quietly, but in the quiet room, it sounded deafening. Her eyes locked on the name glowing in bold letters, Emily Carson. She hadn't heard that name in almost a year, and when she did, it had always come with a strained look on his face and a quick change of subject. She turned to him slowly, confusion turning into something heavier in her chest. Why is she calling you? She asked, barely able to keep the tremble out of her voice. He looked frozen for a second, then reached for the phone and flipped it over to silence it. It's not what you think. Her eyes narrowed. Then what is it? Because you've been acting strange for weeks, now you're talking about secrets, and suddenly Emily's name shows up again? He stood up, running a hand through his hair. I didn't want to bring her into this. I didn't even want to be involved. But she reached out a few months ago, out of nowhere. Said she needed help. Said it was about something from before you and I ever met. She stood too, the towel still clutched tightly around her. You told me you hadn't spoken to her in years. I hadn't. Not until she sent that message. She said it was about my sister, something she discovered. I didn't believe her at first. But then things started lining up. A chill ran through her. What kind of things? He looked at her now, his voice low. Emily claims she knows why my sister's marriage fell apart. And it wasn't just emotional. It was dangerous. She said she has proof. And she's been threatened because of it. The tension in the room snapped tighter. Her mind raced, trying to understand how this was all connected. Emily was his ex from college, someone he had a messy history with, someone he had assured her meant nothing anymore. Now she was suddenly tied to his family? Why didn't you tell me? She asked. Because I didn't want to drag you into it. And I didn't trust Emily at first. I thought she just wanted to get close again, stir up the past. But last week, I met her in person. Just once. She showed me something I couldn't ignore. Her chest tightened. You met her? He nodded. She gave me a flash drive. Told me not to open it unless something happened to her. The phone buzzed again. They both stared at it in silence. She reached out, slowly, picked up the phone, and turned it face up. It wasn't a call this time. It was a message. And all it said was, they know about you. Be careful. He stared at the message like it might disappear if he blinked. Her hands slowly dropped from the phone, eyes locked on his. What does that mean? She asked, her voice barely holding together. Who knows about me? He looked like he didn't want to answer, but the weight of everything finally pushed the truth to the surface. Emily said my sister's ex-husband was involved in something illegal. Financial stuff, fraud, laundering, threats. Emily found out by accident when she was working for a firm connected to his company. That's how she got pulled into this. Her legs felt weak, but she stayed standing. So what does that have to do with me? He hesitated, then said, because your name came up on one of the emails she intercepted. A background check, on you. Your job, your address, even our marriage license. Her mouth went dry. Why would they check on me? Because they think I told you that you might have the flash drive now. And just like that, everything shifted. All the secrecy, the late nights, the tension, it wasn't just about guilt or distance. It was fear. He wasn't hiding something from her. He was hiding something for her. He moved closer, gently taking her hand. That's why I didn't want to tell you until I knew what to do. But now we're in this together, whether we like it or not. Tears welled in her eyes, not from fear, but from everything crashing down at once. So what do we do? I already gave a copy of the flash drive to a lawyer I trust. We'll go to the police tomorrow morning. But tonight, we stay here, together. We don't answer unknown numbers. We don't go anywhere alone. She nodded, clinging to him now, feeling a strange sense of calm under the storm. Maybe this was what real love looked like, choosing each other in the middle of chaos. Trusting even when the ground shakes. Then, just as the weight seemed to lift, the phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video message. He played it. Emily's face filled the screen. Her voice was shaky. If you're watching this, it means they've found me. I left something else behind, something I didn't put on the flash drive. It's hidden where it all began. The screen went black. And once again, everything changed. He held the phone in his hand, fingers trembling slightly, still staring at the black screen after the video ended. Her breath was shallow, heart pounding with a mix of fear and urgency. Where it all began, she whispered, looking up at him. Do you know where that is? He nodded slowly. Our old campus. Emily and I first met there, and she mentioned once she had access to the media building even after graduation. His voice trailed off, the realization settling in. She must have hidden it there. The decision wasn't easy, but by morning they were standing in front of the old university building, the place that held memories of different lives. It was quiet, untouched by the storm that had changed their present. Behind a stack of old AV equipment in a forgotten room, they found a sealed envelope inside a camera bag. Inside was a photo, a USB drive, and a handwritten note. The photo showed Emily with his sister's ex-husband at an event, arms around someone who looked like a city councilman. Corruption, bribery, threats. It was all outlined on the USB, bank transactions, voice recordings, time-stamped images. Everything they needed to bring the truth into the light. Later that week, with the help of a lawyer and the police, the full story unraveled. Emily had vanished, but the evidence she left behind exposed the man behind everything. His sister was finally safe. And so were they. That night, as they returned home, she looked at him differently. Not just as her husband, but as someone who had quietly protected her when she didn't even know she needed protection. He pulled her close, whispering, I'm sorry I kept you in the dark, but I never stopped thinking about us. She leaned into him, her voice soft. I know. And I never stopped believing in you. Their relationship hadn't been perfect, but this storm proved what love really meant, being there when it counted most, standing together even when the world shook beneath their feet. As the city lights flickered through the window, they held each other in silence. Safe. Together. And stronger than before. If you enjoyed this story, let us know in the comments. Would you like a sequel that follows what happens to Emily, or explores their journey after all this? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more heartfelt romantic twists.